Oh, hi everyone, so Ayesha here from godfm, and today I want to talk about Apple again. God. So anyway, if you're a targeted individual, this video is for you, but if you're not, you probably want to listen anyway, okay? Apple iPhones are just as useless as a chocolate fire guard. They're not safe at all. I have tried to contact Apple. I've tried to get their help. I've got help remotely, and they couldn't tell me why. The default messaging app kept changing over to WhatsApp, and why my iMessage messages weren't coming through, and why I couldn't log into my account. They couldn't help me because my messages weren't coming through, so it just kept saying, what was the message? Too many messages sent. And so I've got an account I can't get into, someone's in it, and I'm losing all my messages because it's a way of robbing someone from their messages. So anyway, I've contacted the police, and they said you need to go to Apple and they need to do a scan of your device for Pegasus if you think that the Israeli government are doing this to you, because it's Stingray and Pegasus. So I phoned Apple, booked an appointment today, and had to go to Exeter. And I thought, right, okay, I'll drive to Exeter. And as I'm driving along, what did I drive by but a van with the word Stingray as the branding. Stingray, whatever company it was a Stingray type. Was it Stingray Aerial? Stingray something or other. Automotive, that was it, Stingray Automotive. And I thought, you bastards, you know you're using Stingray and Pegasus on my phones. And I thought, there's probably no point in going to Apple. As it was, I diddled around all afternoon. I had this appointment at 4 o'clock in Exeter with Apple. And I thought, to be honest, with everything going on, I just find it really hard to concentrate on long drives into towns and cities I'm not used to. So I often just get the train or a bus to complicated destinations. But I just recently got my car back from the garage, and I thought, it really needs a clean, and I'll go and give it a clean, and then because I couldn't drive it in the state it was just gross. So full of mold and everything. So I cleaned the car. And then I realised the time, and I had half an hour to get to Exeter. Such a blondie. Anyway, so many speed cameras and everything. It's all average speed everywhere. It's like a prison, this planet. It's horrible. Anyway, I like to put my foot down, to be honest. I really do on a motorway. But anyway, I was like, right, okay, I must really drive slowly. And but also take a bit of care on this car. So I took a bit of care, and because the battery keeps draining, I thought, I better not run the radio, because I don't know whether that's going to drain it. I really won't be able to use this car. So I thought, right, we won't have the radio on. And as I say, saw this Stingray. I went to Exeter and just got completely lost in Exeter. A lot of the roads have changed on the industrial estate that I used to go into Exeter, and I was like, oh, this is just so confusing. And then none of the roads looked familiar, and I just thought, I don't know how I'm going to get into Exeter and park. As it is, I kept going to places where I only got an hour parking, and then eventually I found myself by Exeter Cathedral and parked there. By now I was half an hour late, and I thought, well, at least I'm alive, that's all that matters, and we'll go there. So I made my way over to the Apple store, and they were really polite. I mean, just couldn't be friendlier. So friendly and nice. Really, it was very, very professional. All of them wearing green uniforms, and very, very helpful. And the guy I saw, I told him, I said, look, I've been told by the police I must come in here with my phones and prove that I've got Pegasus or whatever spyware I've got on my phone, and I must bring it to Apple, otherwise they won't help me. And he said, well, I'm not able to do that. I can only do what you can do. I can look at the apps with you, and I'll have a look through your phone. And he went, no, there's nothing on your phones. I said, well, you haven't even looked, have you really? Because this is in the back end of the phone. I said, and he went, well, nothing can hack our iPhones. I said, but Stingray and Pegasus can. He said, oh, I don't know anything about that. I said, well, of course you won't. But no, the thing is, Apple just don't want to know. And then he was like, well, I've got to go see another customer. And I was like, well, I was late, I suppose. We'll go from there. I also had my Apple TVs with me. I said, he said, oh, I can't look at those. And I've got this phone that it does its own thing. It moves around just like the Apple iPhone 12 when it was hacked. I managed to get it working after that, and I did videos of it. And this one of the iPhones I've got now is doing the same, and it just moves around, does its thing, and you can't stay on any screen. And he said, oh no, that's the touch of the screen that's causing that problem. I said, oh, is it really? Okay. And I said, well, what about the ARM64 that I've got on the phone? I said, do you know anything about that? I said, that's part of Stingray and Pegasus, and I've got that on my phone, which is part of a Wireshark hacking software. And he was like, no, I don't know anything about that. And then he was like, oh, I really have got to see other people. And I was like, yeah. I said, this is the problem. Police have told me to come to you. You've told me that there's nothing wrong with my phones, and you haven't even checked it. You haven't got any. You also told me I don't have any software to scan your device. There isn't anything I can scan your device with at all. So basically their advice is wipe the phone and start again. And for me, it's just so mundane and tiring that I've got to keep wiping my phone and starting again. I said to him about the dual SIM and the eSIM things, and I asked him if that's normal, that we've got these devices now, and if I put a SIM card in, or 2 SIM cards in, then swap them around, it still thinks that those SIMs are in the phone. And they've got them down as eSIMs and iMessage and all the other bits and pieces. He said, oh yeah, that's normal. That's normal. So he thinks that the best thing for me to have done is to keep my SIM card in my phone, keep the same number for the iCloud account, and just keep it like that. But the trouble with that is, if you have got spyware and all that, then it starts affecting you. And I said also about the EMF levels. I said, well, what about the EMF levels on my iPhones that when they are infected with spyware, they are emitting really high radiation EMF levels? And you just went, oh, no, that's not possible. I said, oh, it is possible. I've got proof it's possible. Don't want to know kind of thing. And he just kind of looked at me with eyes glazed over like he couldn't give a damn. And also he said, well, I've been working for Apple for 20 odd years, and I can assure you if these were hackable, I would know. And I was like, well, they are hackable, and I've got loads of evidence. And so anyway, I've asked for an email to send them the evidence. And he's got one for feedback. And he said, well, that's, it's not really about hacking though. And I was like, well, I need to be able to report what is happening to my phone to you somehow or other, so I'll be sending that kind of thing over to them. Basically I just started to cry, to be honest. I just broke down in tears, and I couldn't help myself. I just realized then that doesn't matter what I do. These people will continue to do this, and no one will ever do anything. They're all going to pretend it's not possible to hack a phone, even though it is through Pegasus and Stingray. And they just pass you around. You ring the police, they tell you to ring Action Fraud. You ring Action Fraud, they tell you to call the police. You call the police, they won't look at anything unless you've got Apple, who verified that you've got Pegasus. Apple won't admit that their phones are hackable. They won't admit to Pegasus being a program that's being used by the Israeli government to hack and stalk and terrorize innocent civilians. So if it's not happening to you, you won't know about it. So anything I say will appear crazy, and they'll all deny that this is possible. And at this, I just broke down in tears. To be honest, I just did. I couldn't help myself. Not just for me, but for all the other victims. And I wanted to put this broadcast out there just to show you that I've done this today. And I'm adding this to more evidence. This is more evidence as far as I'm concerned. They're denying their accountability for the crimes being committed against targeted individuals. And so my next step will be to find a way to prove that Pegasus is on my phone. My phones and also my Apple devices, and I will hire a company in to do that if I have to, because I'm tired of having all of this happening. And this isn't my imagination. I've already put loads of evidence on all my platforms about this. And so I then walked down to Burger King. Thought, oh, I'm going to have a Burger King today. Cheer myself up after that miserable thing. And, when I was leaving Apple, and he actually got me a tissue, then I felt like a rape victim. I want to explain that too. I just sat there, felt so dirty and violated, and put aside like a dirty tissue. I just felt like a dirty, used tissue that there was no need for anymore. That's the way I felt. And so anyway, I put myself together, and I also asked this gentleman to email me to confirm that they don't scan for Pegasus, so I can go back to the police with that as well. Because the police are just sending us all round in circles. And then I decided to go in the car, go to Burger King, which wasn't there anymore. And then I thought, right, apparently it's just out of Exeter. So I went looking for it and finally did find it. And got myself a burger. Met someone I really, really knew very well, good friend of mine. And we had a long catch-up. Great service, brilliant. I really like Burger King much more than McDonald's, and then but I broke down in tears on the car as well. I just started crying so badly, and I was in the godfm car today, and I just cried uncontrollably. And I just also don't think I really cared what anyone thought of me, I couldn't help myself from crying uncontrollably. I think if anyone was watching, they must have thought, what on earth's going on with that girl? So yeah, I just started to cry uncontrollably. There's just nothing we can do. And I just feel so defeated and humiliated and angry and frustrated and tired and unhappy. Sorry, but I am. And I still like the tissue from the store, so that's wiping the tears. I thought I'm going to crash the car if I'm not careful, because I'm just crying uncontrollably and I couldn't drive.
But it's not for me. A great wish for everyone. So at the moment I just prayed that God would do something. And he would look at me and just say, oh no, I don't like to see this happening. It's just too much. I pray his cup will be full. So yeah, I just pray he deals with them now. So yeah, sorry to cry, but you know, it's good to let it out. I actually think it's better to let it out. It's not a sign of weakness, crying. It's a sign that you're actually in control of your emotions and you are not containing it, because otherwise you'll blow up. And then on the way home I had to go and get petrol, and there was a lovely young couple, and I ended up giving them a lift home, and we got chatting and I got talking about God, and it was very amazing. They're a very lovely couple, such a good looking couple too. And so I tried telling them about some of the things that are happening, and they've actually commented on how cool and relaxed I seemed and whether I'd ever taken mushrooms. So all I can assume is God calmed me down, and that's what he does. When I get in a state, he just calms me right down, and I don't even need to pray about it. He just calms me right down. But like hugging grandma or granddad or something, you know. So yeah, I think as we roll on forward so fast to our future of AI and data centers and being watched and stalked and 15-minute cities and having ticks and things that make you allergic to meat and nano in the water and all this, and gang stalking and all of this stuff, I just think, oh my God, you know. And if you're listening to me and you are upset, have a good cry. It's good to let it all out. Have a good cry. I think so. So, anyway, a few years ago I'd never cry in public. But now I just think there's nothing left for me to fight for. I've lost the ability, my anonymity, my privacy has all been invaded. So I might as well share everything else now as well. You know. So, oh yes, there's just so much that I've been sharing, and I just want people to wake up, you know. It's like people are just sleeping, aren't they? I think they've put stuff in the food to make people dumb. That's what I think. So anyway, make your comments if you're under this attack and you've come under the same issues. If there's any suggestions or feedback that you would like to let me know about. If you've got a story of your story of what's happened to you and you want to tell it, please tell it to godfm. I'd love to interview you. And I believe that we should just keep posting our information. And that's all we can do. But I think today, when I went to the Apple Store, I realized that that's because we are shadow banned, that's the problem. Everything we talk about, we're shadow banned, and then we're also censored. So, and then we're punished for talking about the truth. Our information of what is happening to us doesn't reach many people. The people who have not heard of this kind of crime don't really want to know either. It's kind of interesting, it is. Anyway, when I was leaving the Apple store, I asked the gentleman, I said, do you know about the data centers? What do you think about the data centers? And he went, what data centers? I said, the data centers that are taking all our water. I said, do you got any idea about them? And he went, no. I said, well, you might want to look it up. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. And I thought, right, okay. Oh, dear. Anyway. And so, I don't know if I told you, but one of my first businesses I had in England was a valeting company. So, I had a quick go over the car. Without a vacuum, without any water. But I managed to get most of the marks out. The mould and stuff. Ready for it to be properly valeted when I've got time, but I just I'm astonished, really, that this is allowed to happen. And I think also what brought it home is the lack of empathy, the lack of sympathy, the lack of understanding, the lack of interest. This total absence of caring, and the duty of care is missing as well from all of these businesses. I rang up my network provider about these funny Hawaii phones that I found on my router that are connected through USB. And also I want to hack drops, the 7. I want to hack drops that I found on the router as well. And they were just so unhelpful. It was like I'm a bad spell. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have victims of this crime are treated like they are the criminals. And the questioning of the victim is in such a way it insinuates that you're making it up, you're imagining it, you haven't got any evidence, and this couldn't happen. Why would it happen to you? Who's doing it? Why? How? And you've got to prove it all. Even if you've got your evidence, they actually then don't want to know, and then they treat you like you're the criminal. I don't know why, but that's something I've noticed. But as a business owner, I'm going to look at this as a business entity for both my companies, my main businesses I'm running at the moment. I do have a few, but I have 2 that are really quite active still. So from that, I'm going to look at cyber security for the businesses and what support is offered. And if I learn anything, I'll share it with you guys as well. It does look like I'm going to have to get myself a physical firewall, a Cisco type system. I don't know exactly, but I think personally what is happening is it is a Stingray. That's maybe why they were driving the vehicle by today. A Stingray, which I can't really, there's nothing I can do to stop that. And maybe that's why they drove the vehicle by today, just to say it doesn't really matter what you do. We've got our Stingray, and we can hack you anytime with Stingray. The fact that it was Stingray Automobile
it's an automobile, as in auto connect to your mobile. I've got to think of all the names of these things. Mobile phone, automobile, which is automobile. So, what is a car? It's an automobile. That's interesting, it is. An iPhone is called an iPhone because it's for you, and it's your interface to the metaverse, so they can upload your private information onto there. It seems to be really mirroring everything you're doing. I don't have the answers. I don't have the solutions, and this also, for me, really frustrates me. Sorry, I've got my cat here, Gary, and he's very worried about me because I'm crying. So I'm just going to quickly reassure him. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It's all right. He doesn't like it when I cry. Do you? You're all right. Yes, animals are very sensitive to us having emotional breakdowns and crying. I think the whole understanding of what life's about from a cat's viewpoint is rather marvelous and beautiful, actually. So innocent and pure they are, these animals, and they haven't got a dirty thought in their minds. And I often think about that, you know, if our animals could be like human beings, if they had a human sort of fleshly body, they'd be marvelous people. I've come to think that animals are much kinder than humans. That's what I think. They haven't got a scheming idea in their mind. Oh yes, possibly your bacon sandwich that's on the surface. They might have a little scheme to climb up and have some of that. Funnily enough, I did do bacon and eggs the other day. And I put the lid on top of the frying pan, which wasn't quite big enough to go over the frying pan because it was off one of the big cooking pots, but enough to cover the food, thank goodness. And Gary had a good old lick all round the outside of it. Naughty cat, you see. But that doesn't mean he's a bad inside. Just that he likes bacon. So, obviously he got telling off for that. But because we don't want him jumping on surfaces and helping himself. But I think sometimes there's just so much going on in the world that even the cat seems to be affected by it. Don't you, Gary? Mm? So, when I cry, Gary normally comes up and cuddles me and kisses me and licks my face, don't you? Yeah. Because he understands. And I wish he could come and lick your face for you if you're suffering and crying. If you are crying, I want you to imagine that Gary's kissing you as well. It's okay. It's okay to cry. And it's okay to not be able to cope. I was thinking about this too. I was thinking, oh, you know, it is okay. I'm not made of steel. I have feelings. And I think the fact that I let it all out meant that I was very, you know, helpful to the next young couple I noticed was struggling to get home. So I offered them a lift, you know. Yesterday, there was a lady who'd locked herself out of her apartment, but she was house sitting, and the people she was house sitting for had gone out. So now she had got herself her dinner and she was stuck outside. I tried to help her, bless her. And you know, that's the thing, you know. You just got to try and help people. There's always somebody worse off or going through more difficult times, you know. And this is important, you know. You've got to get it all right
nobody's perfect either. And I think it is okay to feel sorry for yourself. I do. If you've been going through this, it's horrendous. It really is. I've spent the last couple of weeks licking my wounds, to be honest. Just letting myself have a rest and feeling sorry for myself and giving myself a bit of love and that kind of thing. Because I know no one else will do it apart from the Lord, and I think the Lord's kind of cradled me, and I think that's been really nice. So, prayer and fasting. You can pray in your head, you don't have to pray all the time, but certainly just tell the Lord. And I say to God, sometimes I just say, sorry God, I'm just not doing so good at the moment, you know. Sometimes I wonder about what God's thinking, and I think, you know, does he think, oh dear, Ayesha's not doing very well? Or does he think, it's okay, Ayesha's alright, she'll be fine? What does he think? Is he angry? Is he disappointed? Is he sympathetic? I wonder what he's thinking. You know, after all, he is our creator. And so I think like that. Anyway, when I went to pick up my car, I got charged quite a lot of money, actually. It's about 300 and odd pounds. Just not for the whole job, but £300 of the job was just from 3 hours of labour to move the vehicle because the battery wasn't working. And I just thought, oh God, that's horrendous. So it was a massive bill, and I was just so unexpecting it. Then I thought to myself, I need to talk to you guys about this, because a lot of your cars are vandalized and the batteries are affected, aren't they? And I thought to myself, gosh, I'm stupid. Because when the car was taken to the garage, they had to take it on a truck. Because no one could get this thing started. So anyway, I decided to order a battery and have it delivered to the garage. And I thought, well, because otherwise it'd be a couple of £100 at least for a battery. So I managed to get a battery for about £58. And had it delivered. And I thought, right, okay. But if I had the brain in place, what I should have done is had the battery delivered to me before the MOT was due and swapped the battery myself, and I would have saved myself quite a few £100 on the car. And if any of you are struggling then with cars that they keep messing with the batteries, then I think it might be a good idea to learn how to take out your battery, what batteries to buy, how to buy a battery, and how to swap a battery, how to connect it up, and always have one spare battery ready, but also have battery chargers that you can take the battery out and charge the battery up as well. Because I can't tell you how many times I've had to call garages because the car won't start, and then they said, oh, you need a new battery. And the battery I bought, as I say, was about £58, and it's exactly the same battery as the garage had put in last time, and the time before that, which was sort of, 6 months apart. So, and he charged me about 300 and something pound to do it. So I just thought, God, blimey, they really do whack it on, don't they, So anyway, I just think, well, it is really tiring when everybody wants to have a little piece of the pie, you know? Anyway, I was thinking too that the only reason I got this battery at this price was because a very close friend of mine had told me that he had got a cheap battery for his car, and that you don't always have to go for the expensive ones, and his mechanic had got him a cheaper battery, and he said it's fine. I thought, well, I'll try that then. So I haven't got hundreds of pounds, and I was like so delighted that he told me that, because then I thought I'll look for one, because I spoke to the garage and they said, well, you can always get a battery and send it to us if you want. So I was like, okay. So this is what I did, and I'm glad I did it that way. But also, I was looking at the interior of my car, and these people have gone and swapped all the little knobs and everything, and take anything with a black finish, they've taken off the finish so that it's white plastic, so that the original finish is off. Smashed up wing mirrors, smashed up, cut the hood, and put mold all over the car. And I just can't believe that these people are allowed to get away with it. For me, that's why I think I cried today. Because I just thought, how is one person to deal with this against a whole team? It's despicable, disgusting, absolutely awful. But I think that we have got people who do watch us, people who aren't necessarily participating in it actively, and so I think the fact that we talk about it, then they start to really think about what we're saying, you know. And I think they also think to themselves, if this was to happen to me, it'd be horrendous. And so this is the only way to go, really, to explain that data centers are on their way, and we're all in for big changes. Big changes. These data centers are to terraform us. Oh yes, that was it. The Apple Store. The guy said to me, oh yeah, if it's an app, then it's a Meta problem, so you should contact Meta. He said, because the apps are causing the problems, not the phone. And I was thinking, yeah, but it's through the App Store. So if you're going to be providing us with a device, then there needs to be some mitigation for devices that are downloading apps, third-party apps, or even first-party. If Apple have first dibs, if you like, on everything, they won't let you download anything that isn't approved by Apple, then they should be monitoring what is allowed on their devices, which then affects or infects the device. So again, I think there's an argument for everything I'm saying, and I think I have valid points that I've raised. That's what I think. Anyway, sorry I haven't got any better news. I'm sorry. I'm disappointed, as you can tell. I'm really, really disappointed with everything. I feel really defeated, and like I say, I don't have the answers. I wish I did, but it seems that only the people who worship the devil are allowed to be happy, and the rest of us are not allowed to be happy at all. And if you speak the truth, God help you then, because you'll be under attack night and day for it. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's two ways you can play this if you're a targeted individual. One, you just ignore it. You throw your phone in the bin. And forget you ever could have a phone, and get rid of your TV, get rid of anything smart, and get on with your life and go out and get a job. I know somebody who doesn't have a smartphone. He's got an old-fashioned phone. He doesn't have smart TV. He has an old-fashioned TV, and he doesn't watch anything on the aerial. He just watches DVDs. And he has a little job, and he works and whatever, and he's quite happy. The biggest worry for him is what to have for breakfast. He had great delight in telling me all about that. Shall I have scones, or shall I have toast with marmalade? And when I was being hacked and stalked, I thought, no, I don't really give a damn what you have for breakfast. Bye. I thought, bye, see you later. So this is one way of dealing with it. Or the other way is just to continue with your device and use your phone as it should be used. Keep backing up to iCloud. If it gives you problems, wipe the phone, reinstall back from the saved iCloud backup, and go from there. There was a business development crisis center that phoned me today, who deal with cyber, and they're part of the police. And there's various courses businesses can take working with the police and the cyber division of the criminal protection for business owners. And this gentleman phoned me today, and he gave me all sorts of wonderful suggestions about computers, which I want to relay over to you as well. And this is, if you worked for, say, a sales company, and they gave you a computer, you'd be able to use that computer, you sign in and sign out, but you wouldn't be able to change the inner workings of that computer, because you got the computer from the company and they've locked it down. So he said, if you're going to use your own computer, you need to do that as well for yourself, so that no one can get into the computer while you're on the computer and while you're not on the computer. So you don't give yourself admin rights for when you're signing in, and you keep that separate. And he said, so I said, that is a brilliant idea, because I don't think I covered that closely enough when I had my business. So this is probably an opening that people have come in and then fiddled around with the inner workings of the computer because they can. And I wonder if that's affected me, but also has it affected you guys, So my suggestion to you is to re-look at that, and I'm going to be looking at that as well. Because I said to him, I've had to disable my computer, otherwise they're in it, because they go in through the BIOS. So, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but it's quite frustrating. So, this is my suggestion to you, to try that, and just go through all the settings and change it around so that you haven't got as many admin rights, but you have a different user with the admin rights that you're not signed into, that you can sign into to make these changes when you need to, but treat yourself like an employee or something. So that's the other thing. One more thing I want to talk about is the spoofing Wi-Fi. So like for me, when I go home, I've always got my neighbour's Wi-Fi that shows up in my home, and this is like spoofing Wi-Fi, which I believe is part of the Stingray. And again, there's not much you can do. What I have found helps me is to keep signing out and back in to the Wi-Fi, and this can help you as well. Because if you've been connected up to a copy of your Wi-Fi, a spoofing version of it, then this way you kick it off as well.
And the other thing I recommend is to learn how to use your router. Get into it, change the admin password, get to know the settings of it, update the software. The other thing this guy said is on your phone is to go through and update each app as well, and update the software and make sure it's updating. So yeah, I mean, I can only pass on the recommendations I have been given, but like I say, if there's Stingray or Pegasus in operation, then there's not much you can do about it. Is there? So very frustrating indeed. But it is my belief that if you're getting any assistance from the government, then they come after you even harder. People on disability, or anybody who's got ADHD, or any of those sort of problems, or maybe you've broken your back and now you need extra assistance. If they see you as a sort of drain on the system, then I think they feel that they have the right to play around with you. That's what I think. This is something I've noticed as a common thing. Quite common, not always, but very common. Most of the victims of this crime have ended up in a situation where they've needed assistance from the government of some kind or other, whether it's for themselves or for someone in the family, like they need to be a carer. Then they're seen as an additional drain, and then your name, I think, must be flagged up as well. So let me know what your feedback is on that as well. But yeah, it does appear there's a lot more to do to wake people up, and there's a lot more to do to protect ourselves with our phones. I don't have the answers, sorry. All I can say is I just want to cry because I'm so disappointed. I was thinking about it, and these people can just mess with my life and no one will ever do anything. So, and this makes me upset. Very upset. And I'm tired of pretending. So I'll just keep posting what I've got as evidence, and try and help as many people as I can with ideas and suggestions of what's worked for me and what hasn't. I'm sorry if I seem a bit down. I'm not down, I'm just a bit fed up. Okay? And yeah, I have changed a lot. So I've just become a bit more placid and accepted what I've had to accept. I'd like to read you a psalm before I go, and it's quite a long one. Psalm 105. Give praise to the Lord, proclaim his name, make known among the nations what he has done. Sing to him, sing praise to him, tell of all his wonderful acts, glory in his holy name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Look to the Lord and his strength. Seek his face always. Remember the wonders he has done, his miracles and the judgments he pronounced. You, his servants, the descendants of Abraham, his chosen ones, the children of Jacob. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. He remembers his covenant forever, the promise he made for 1,000 generations, the covenant he made with Abraham, the oath he swore to Isaac. He confirmed it to Jacob as a decree, to Israel as an everlasting covenant. To you I will give the land of Canaan as the portion you will inherit. When they were but a few in number, few indeed, and strangers in it, they wandered from nation to nation, from kingdom to another, from one kingdom to the other. He allowed no one to oppress them.
For their sake he rebuked kings. Do not touch my anointed ones. Do my prophets no harm. He called down famine on the land and destroyed all their supplies of food. And he sent a man before them, Joseph, sold as a slave. They bruised his feet with shackles. His neck was put in irons, till what he foretold came to pass. Till the word of the Lord proved him true, the king sent and released him. The ruler of peoples set him free. He made him master of his household, ruler over all he possessed, to instruct his princes as he pleased, and to teach his elders wisdom. Then Israel entered Egypt. Jacob resided as a foreigner in the land of Ham. The Lord made his people very fruitful. He made them too numerous for their foes, whose hearts he turned to hate his people, to conspire against his servants. He sent Moses his servant and Aaron, whom he had chosen. They performed his signs among them, his wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness and made the land dark. For had they not rebelled against his words, he turned their waters into blood. He caused their fish to die. Their land teemed with frogs, which went up into the bedrooms of their rulers. He spoke, and there came swarms of flies and gnats throughout their country. He turned their rain into hail. With lightning throughout their land, he struck down their vines and fig trees, and shattered the trees of their country. He spoke, and the locusts came, grasshoppers without number. They ate up every green thing in their land, ate up the produce of the soil. Then he struck down all the firstborn in their land, and the first fruits of all their manhood. He brought out Israel laden with silver and gold, and from among their tribes no one faltered. Egypt was glad when they left, because dread of Israel had fallen on them. He spread out a cloud as a covering, and a fire to give light at night. They asked, and he brought them quail. He fed them well, and he fed them with bread of heaven. He opened the rock, and water gushed out. It flowed like a river in the desert, for he remembered his holy promise given to his servant Abraham. He brought out his people with rejoicing, his chosen ones with shouts of joy. He gave them the lands of the nations, and they fell heir to what others had toiled for, that they might keep his precepts and observe his laws. Praise the Lord. Basically, that's everything I've been praying for. Isn't that wonderful? So, I also want you to know that your prayers are heard. So don't forget to pray and talk to God. I know that many people have been vindicated. Some people are no longer here for the things they have done to me. So I know that the Lord is dealing with those that come against me, as I have prayed. They will not always know who, why, or what has been the instigation of the negative things that are befalling their lives, whether it be a death in the family or some other disaster or illness or something that's befallen their family or them themselves. But God is the one I leave my matters of concern with, and I trust him. And so I trust God will deal with him. God didn't put me here to be unhappy, to be terrorized by my enemies, to be hacked and stalked and followed. So I trust God will deal with it eventually. And so I just wait on the Lord. And like I say, I just share what works for me. Okay, guys? I try try and do the same. Okay. Love you all. I hope you have an amazing day. It's Ayesha from godfm. And remember, you can find us on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome, YouTube, Apple X, as well as TikTok as godfm News, godfm New, godfm Radio, godfm Group, and godfm Media. Love you lots, guys. Take care.